Okay, today we're going to go over warp and distort. Warp and distort. So let's make a new document. Let's call it warp and distort. Your toolbars are, yeah, window, workspace, basic, and you can also do window control. That brings up that control bar at the top. All right, for this one, I don't think we're going to need any of these windows. You may want to change some colors. Warp and distort. First thing, go ahead and type your name. Use your control toolbar up at the top. And let's make it 72 point. And let's change it to a font that you like. I like this one, nasalization. Okay. Now, like I taught you guys yesterday, one of the things that you should get into the habit of doing is when you make a font or when you change the font and you're ready to now put some designs and stuff into the text, make a copy of it. Okay. And in fact, if you don't want to see that other text, what you can do is just drag it off of the artboard. But you know that it's still there. Okay, get into the habit of doing that, and that'll save you a lot of trouble. Because if you ever make a spelling mistake, you'll want to have the original text back. Let me tell you. Okay. All right, so let's create outlines of our text, and by doing that, it changes it into what? Lines and shapes and curves. Okay. Right now, it's probably still they're all going to be shapes, but now if we go up to the Effect tab. Up at the very top, there are a lot of effects in there, and I want to show you which ones not to use. Okay, so go to the Effect tab. There are two sets of effects. You want to stick with the ones that say Illustrator effects. Do not go down here into Photoshop effects. All right, just like I told you guys not to use the which tool is that? The Flare tool in this class. Don't use the Photoshop effects. All right, it's not that they're bad, but they're bad right now. When we go to Photoshop, they got all of these and a lot more, but now they'll just clog up the printer. They'll make your stuff hard to print. So do not use these Photoshop filters and these Photoshop galleries. If you want to try and see what it looks like, by all means, knock yourself out. But stick to the ones that say Illustrator effects. So go down to Illustrator effects, down to Warp. And then start at the top, go to Arc. And that brings up the Warp Options dialog box. You should never have to go back up into to your effects again, because if you click on the preview button here, you can see now what that text will look like when you apply those effects. So make sure you click on that preview box. Now, when you apply these effects, it'll show you in real time. You got bend, you got distortion, horizontal and vertical. Pretty cool, huh? Vertical distort. Check that one out. It's like the Star Wars text, huh? Now, this is pretty important. Take a look up at the screen. all of your styles are right here in that pull down, right? So you can choose any of these styles, but what you'll want to do is you'll want to change the style that you're working on now. Right now we're doing arc. Make all of them back to 0% before you move on. That way your text will go back to its original state. If you don't, it's going to keep that arc on there. So whatever you do, it's going to keep it, and it's going to apply more than one. So students can twist up their text so much that it becomes unrecognizable. But if you put all these back at 0, now when you go on to the next one, now when you make changes, it'll look a lot better. So here I did arc upper. You got arc upper. You can bend it. You'll notice that when we apply these attributes, though, when you take a look at your text, your original anchor points are still there. It's just applying this to the text. And don't get crazy with these either. It's okay to put 1 or 2 effects on there when you're going for that purpose. But don't do a whole bunch of stuff just twisting it up. And like, teacher, it looks good. This is exactly what I wanted. You didn't even think of that before you did it. When you click OK, it takes you back out in the Illustrator. And now you can do the exact same stuff that we were doing yesterday. You can change the color. You can put strokes. You can put drop shadow, or not drop shadows. The drop shadow effect we did yesterday. You can put the gradient inside of there. You can really do some cool stuff. All right, let's move on. We don't got a lot of time. We're about to take break. This time I want you to do your tear off with your shapes. Do your tear off with your shapes. You can come back to playing around with this text in a minute. Do a tear off with your shapes. Make a star. Make a star that has like 6 or 7 points like that. You can put the same effects on text on any other shape or object in Illustrator. So now I'll go back up to Effect, go to Warp, Fish. Click on Preview. Then click OK. Now I have a... This is a... No, it's not a starfish. It's a stingray looking thing. Yeah. Yeah, click on the object. And how about that for a nice little quick logo? It's eating my name. My name is a fish, and it's eating... yeah, it's like a fish swimming Pac-Man. Check that out. Use your pen tool. Just make a straight line, straight across. Go to up in your control box, put a 2-point stroke on it. Come on, stroke. Why aren't you working? Oh. Put a 6-point stroke on it. Excuse me. Put a 6-point stroke. Go up to effect. Distort and transform now. Go to distort and transform. And let's go to twist. Click on preview. And let's make it 35%. Alright. Click on the line. Go to effect. Distort and transform. And twist. Distort, transform, and twist. Try it and see. Now remember, you can apply more than one effect on these. So if you go to effect, pucker and bloat. Check out what happens. So you can apply these effects to any of your objects. Stars, shapes, rounded rectangles, effect, check this one out. It'd be very hard for you to make this shape in Illustrator if you use the pen tool and try to trace it. But using these effects, voila. And when you're done, you have to say voila. I don't know. No, I think I did effect, warp, inflate. Effect, warp, inflate, and I did it on a rounded rectangle. So that is all from me